Do you want to know why 99% of people fail? Why only 1% of people are winners? Why there are 8 billion people on this planet and only a percentage of them will win in life or be successful by the metric we look as a society? Is because they bet on themselves. The reason 99% of people lose and 1% of people win is because the 1% of people who win are willing to do things that the 99% of people are not willing to do. So, what makes the 1% different from the 99%? Because these 1% are willing to take risks that the 99% are not willing to take. The 1% are willing to be homeless. The 1% are willing to lose money. The 1% are willing to be in an uncomfortable situation. The 1% are willing to do so many more things than the 99%, and this is the reason they win. Because let's say 10% of people are very smart, like they're naturally gifted smart. Well, then why are only 1% of these people very successful? Because being smart does not equal you being successful, right? Because I know so many people in this 1% who have a fuckload of cars, they have boats, yachts, apartments, fucking they have everything in life, materialistically, I mean. And they're not the smartest people. I know people who are so very smart, but they don't got shit like the 1% do. Most of the people in the 1%, yes, they got brains, they're very smart, they're sharp, they're blah, blah, blah. But the only things that differentiate them from these 99 is they have balls, you know? Because if you want to start a company to achieve all of those things, you need balls. Because let's say you and your 10 friends, right? So there's 11 people in the room, right? And all of you are 18 and you're at the crossroad, you know, like path converge. And here you have the university. So you go to university, you learn some things, you get the diploma, and then you bet on someone that is going to give you a job after those 4 years, and then you can get the 5% raise year over year. Now, let's say then on the other side, you have the risk thing. So it's like starting a business or doing something for yourself. Doing something for yourself could be maybe starting to box. You want to be a boxer, you want to start a career, do this full time, then you can take the risk and do this. If you want to play volleyball, if you want to start a business, join the family business, I don't know, start social media, do something else, you know, something that doesn't fit a norm, something that you have to figure out yourself. Now, out of these 11 people that you are a part of, 10 will go to university. So out of these 10 people, they all know the same info, right? So you have the same information. So all 10 of them are exactly the same valuable as the other one. So 10 people know exactly the same things as the other one. And let's say you take the risk and you take your own path, doing something else because you have balls. You take the risk and you do something else. You learn new info. Because think about the university guys, right? They go to university, there's probably like another 100 students in their classroom. And out of these 100 students, they all know the exact same things. And what makes a car valuable, you know, or a boat valuable, is that very few people have it. Because if everybody had a Rolex would be worth shit. And this is the same with information. If a billion people know the same amount of information, then that information is basically useless. But if you're the only one who knows that information, then it becomes increasingly valuable. For example, if you're a coach, I don't know, you sell coaching on whatever, business coaching, right? People will buy from you because you're the only one with that information. But they will not buy from some guy who went to university because there's like 100 people who know that information. You will pay this guy maybe $5K and then you'll pay these guys maybe $100, you know, because he knows something that you don't know. And the reason taking risks and having balls in life is important because these guys who go to university, who take the simple choice, the safe choice, end up like the 100 guys because their path is laid down for them. And the 1% guy, the guy who takes the risk, has his own path. And most of you don't want to take the risk. Why don't you want to take the risk? Because you don't want to end up a failure in your life. Because you're like, you know what, if I do some business and the business fucking fails, then I'm a failure. And this is because you have the wrong perspective in life. Because most of you associate failure as a bad thing, you know? Fail equals bad. But I'm here to counter this opinion. Why? Because failing is not necessarily bad. Because every time you fail, you get +1 knowledge. You fail again, you get +1 knowledge. You fail the third time, you get +3 knowledge, you know? And maybe when you get at 10 knowledge points, then you can have a business that is successful. And I can tell you this 100%, I do business classes, right? I learn a lot from business. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. But the things that learn me the most, because I failed 9 businesses. I have failed 9 fucking businesses. 9. I've honestly failed 9 businesses. I had businesses in cars, businesses in website building. I've tried fucking drop shipping. I tried everything, right? I took some money. I went out to investors to get some loans. I'm fucking 17. I'm turning 18 in like a few days, right? And I failed 9 businesses. And I'm still here standing today trying again. And I can tell you for 100% in those 9 businesses, the amount of knowledge I've gathered is 100% worth it. I failed 9 businesses in a year. So every 1.5 months, you know, I fail a business. I fail a business. But every time I learn something and I try again. Why? Because let's say I failed 9 businesses and I got like 9 knowledge points. I'm on the fucking break to be there. And also I'm on the right direction. I started meeting, as I fail in business, I started meeting people who are also passionate about business, who know a lot more than me, who help me. I have a watch business, you know, I sell watches. And I have a guy who has the biggest e-commerce in Romania, personal e-commerce in Romania. He's like $100 million company. He took me under his wing. Why? Because I remind him of him. He failed like 15, 16 businesses because before he got successful with this one. 16, 17 businesses, 20 businesses. I don't know how many fucking he failed. But he's still doing it today, and today he's successful. And this is why it's important to look at failure in a positive way. Because every time you fail, you learn something deep fundamentally that's changing the way on how you think and how you're gonna act in the future. Because if you win, right, there's not that much learning in winning. You know, you learn, okay, for example, you run a race and you win, you're the number 1. You win the fucking race, right? And let's say you lose the race. Then you can go home and think, well, my start was not good. My shoes were not good. I don't know, my stamina was not good enough. My muscles were not prepared. I didn't get enough rest. I didn't do this, I didn't do that. So by failing and losing the race, you learn at least 7 to 8 things, you know, and like I can improve on those 7, 8 things. And then you take actionable steps, you know, to improve. You improve on those 7 to 8 things, because when you win, you're like, oh, I'm already perfect. There's nothing to improve. So you don't do shit. And this is why failing is so important, and you should fail as much as possible. And the thing that stops people from trying to do things and snooze break, from stopping them to do things and failing and trying new things, is because they're afraid of judgment, you know? Because most of you watching this video will not be out here on a whiteboard, you know, on a Monday, 12 o'clock, writing and teaching things. Why? Because you're gonna be afraid of, well, what if my friends see this? What if the people around me see this and find this cringe or tell me, oh, you're never gonna succeed? What if this fucking video gets 100 views? You know, 100 views is not a success, is not a win, but I'm still doing it. Because every video I fuck up, every video that gets less views than the previous or a bit more views, I learn something. Each video that fails, I learn something. Okay, next video, maybe speak better, take a better subject, explain things better, talk with more passion, do something. And each video that fails, I learn 7 to 8 things. And after fucking 10 videos, I learned 70 things. After 100 videos, I learned 700 things. And you at home who does nothing, you learn nothing. Because I deeply learn these things because they're very personal to me. And every time I do another video, I can apply these 700 things or these 70 things because I don't mind failing for 5 years. You know, I honestly, I don't mind it. I don't mind being fucking homeless because at least I'm doing things my way and I'm doing things how I want to do it and I'm living my life and I'm living for myself. And I'm not afraid of judgment because I'm betting on myself. Because remember the fucking university guys I was speaking to you. They're not betting on themselves. They're betting on someone else. They're betting that they're gonna go to university, get accepted, work 4 years, get a fucking degree, and then they're betting on someone else to hire them. And the guy who hires the 10 people who went to university is the guy who bet on himself. One of my favorite business stories is the guy from LVMH, right? And just the power, LVMH, right? LVMH, right? This guy, Arnaud, I don't remember his name, right? This guy grew up in a rich family. He went to university, went to blah, blah, blah. And his father had a like small commercial construction businesses. So he used to build warehouses for people and stuff. And maybe he had like 300 to 4,000 euros at that time, you know, which is not that much. Well, comparatively to that time, it's a lot. But compared to the fucking 250 billion he had last year because his company crashed like 40% because of China. But he had 300,000 euros and it was his father's business. And he asked his father to sell the business or to take out a loan against the business and all the asset and everything he owns and all the contracts to get €1,000,000 and to start building hotels, right? Now, his father had a good business, was working properly. He could continue building this, get a 10-15% growth year over year. His family had food on the table. He had houses, he had cars. They could go on vacation whenever, wherever, you know. They were living the good life, not the amazing life, but the good life. And his son went to his father and said, Dad, I need €1,000,000. I want to build hotels. His father didn't know nothing about hotels, about hiring people, about hiring staff, about doing things the left and right, about constructing businesses, about constructing a hotel. He only knew construction. He didn't know how to do a hotel room, where to put the telephone, where to put the TV, where to put the reception. He didn't know anything of this. And neither did the Arnaud guy, but he bet on himself. And for a year, a full-on year, he just tried to convince his father to give him his money. He was so relentless that at some point, his father gave him the €1,000,000. So he took a big risk. If the hotel doesn't work, he loses everything. He loses the company and then he's like 600 or 400K in debt, which equivalent to that time, which is like, I don't know, the fucking 40s. This is worth, I don't know, $5 to $6 million our time. You're $5 to $6 million in debt in our own money, in our own currency, which is absolutely bonkers. But the guy had so much self-conviction that it started. And he started building his hotel. And he had so many issues whilst building his first hotel. He built a hotel, I think, in Paris, Plaza something hotel, you know? And he built it for 2 years. He went lobbying, got permits, hired people, went design, bought furniture, did a fuckload of things. And guess what? He learned, because every time you want to do a room, you know, let's look at the hotel room. You know, you have to design the room, put the plumbing in, put the electricity, get the furniture, put the lights in, do everything. So there's like, I don't know, 40 to 50 moving pieces into having a nice hotel room. A hotel room that is good looking, that is nice, that people want to come here. And there's like 40 to 50 things that are moving pieces. And he needs to learn those 50 things. And instead of going to university or talking to a guy that's like, you need to do hotel this way, you need to do this. No. He will not learn this way. By doing these 40 to 50 moving pieces and thinking about them and acting on them, he will learn so much more. He will learn so much more than if he had discussion. Yes, he can go to counseling and go to people and give him general direction. But people will not give you solution. People will give you a path in the right direction. And this is why it's so important to just do things. Because the guy had such big balls. Went to his father, like, Dad, let's take a risk. Let's do a fucking hotel. If it doesn't work out, we go bankrupt. We have to sell the house, sell the cars, no more vacation, we're back to zero. Do you realize how much self-conviction that takes? And then, and he did this when he was like 24 or 25, something like this. And now he's like, I don't know, 70 and is worth 250 billion. Which is insane. Which is insane. How do you go to your father and be like, we're gonna be 5 to 6 million in debt? If that doesn't work, give me some fucking money. I have no experience in doing this whatsoever, but I'm willing to try and I'm willing to fail. And guess what? Even if his fucking hotel would fail one time, don't you think he would try again and go at it again? Because yes, he did the hotel, and after a few years, the hotel was successful. He paid back the money, paid back the loan, he had success. And then he started LVMH. He did even more hotels and then started, I don't remember what fashion brand he bought, but he bought some fashion brand, that was on his knee on the verge of collapse. He went there like on the fashion brand. He had no experience with fashion whatsoever, like none. No experience in fashion. He had zero experience in fucking fashion. And guess what? He bought the failing company. I can't remember what the company is, and turned it back around and started making money with it. How the fuck does a guy who went from building warehouses to building hotels to owning the biggest fashion empire in Europe or in the world, to be fair? He didn't know shit about fashion. He just saw an opportunity. He's like, I can learn. I'm betting on myself. I know what I'll do. I'll be successful. Do you think he would have managed to do the fucking fashion business, right? Fashion business, if he didn't believe in himself? He was like, you know what? Fashion is not for me. I don't know shit about fashion. I cannot do fashion for shit. No, he bet on himself. He's like, I can learn. I can do this. I am better than the guy currently running the company I'm buying. I'm better, even though he doesn't know shit about fashion. And he still went and he gambled on himself. He bet on himself. And it saddens me when I see most of people taking the safe choice in life, taking the safe option. Because the way I live my life and the perspective I live my life is, imagine you're like 90, you're on your fucking deathbed, and you're thinking about your life gradually from since you were born to the moment where you're on your deathbed. I'd rather know that I've lived my life taking every risk I could have taken every chance I could have taken, started every business I could have taken, failed a fucking million times if it comes to that, failed a million times, then take the safe option and live a unfulfilling life. Because you see most of these people that work in corporate, they're fucking miserable. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people who work in corporate. Yeah, I go to my job, I wake up at 8 a.m. every day, same thing, go to the job that I fucking hate, with the boss I don't like, with colleagues who are fucking assholes. Sit there, type on a computer for 6 hours a day, do the same thing. Don't think outside the box at all, just execute what another guy tells me to do. There's nothing, powerful in that. There's nothing that stimulates the mind or give you fulfillment. And you do this shit for 40 years. You do the same shit for 40 years. I would rather live under a bridge than do this shit. Because you don't realize that you have one life. You have one shot. You have one shot at success. You have one life. You have one shot, right? And in this one shot, it can take you 10 years to get it right. It's like throwing a basketball hoop. Maybe success is throwing 10 balls in the hoop in a row. Maybe this is success. Just imagine this, right? Throwing 10 balls is success. Maybe some guy takes him 6 months to get 10 balls in the hoop. Maybe it takes you 5 years. But I can guarantee you, every time you throw the ball in the hoop and it doesn't land, you learn something. Too on the right. Too strong. Too weak. I need to jump more, And so every time you do this, you get +1 knowledge points. And maybe for you, you need 500 knowledge points. Maybe the other guy needs 50 knowledge points. Why? Because he's more gifted. Or maybe he did similar sports or learned more when he was younger. And this is why he only needs 50 knowledge points. The point here being is the more you try, the closer you are to winning. I have a very dear friend of mine. She's very smart. Every time I go talk to her, I feel like shit because she's always right. Imagine your goal is to make, $1 billion, which is what I'm going to do. And here is the graph, and here you have 1,000 lines. Imagine this is 1,000 lines. Yeah, it looks like grass. And out of these 1,000 lines, there's only one way to make it, right? There's only one of these lines, let's take for example this one, will get you to the $1 billion. Now, when you start, you don't know which line is gonna get you there. But if you, let's say you try this line, doesn't work, you try this line, it doesn't work, you try this line, it doesn't work, then you can start seeing a pattern. Well, I tried this stuff like this and it didn't work, this stuff like this and it didn't work, I tried this stuff differently, it didn't work. So probably I can already exit out these lines. I don't think these lines would work, so there's no point in me wasting the time. Then I know these lines won't work because they're very similar to this and there's not a market for it, doesn't work, I don't have the money yet, or I need to level up myself because I can go to these lines. And even though you started out with 1,000 options, after you've done 12 to 15 businesses, I don't know, maybe you failed 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, then you're down to like 6 lines, you know? And then these 6 lines are the only good options. And you try this one, doesn't work. You try this one, doesn't work. You try this one, boom, it fucking works. You know? And it's just that simple. You just need to try and to bet on yourself. Because I don't know how many ways I can say this, but you have the choice to live your life for yourself. You have the choice to do things for you, not for others. And when you do things for you, you're fucking fulfilled. Because even if I fail 100 businesses, 100, and I live under a bridge, I'm fucking homeless, I'm crippling in debt, I will be 10,000 times more fulfilled and 10,000 times gladder that I'm in that situation than working a fucking corporate job. Because for me, the idea of a corporate job is hell. And if you're watching this video, probably it's the same for you. But you go to work your corporate job, why? Fuck, this guy is a failure, he didn't go to university. This guy is a failure, he started his own business. He's a failure, he tried for 6 years, didn't get any fucking money out of it. He's a failure, he's in debt. His business ideas are stupid, you know? And these are people telling you things, you know? These are your friends, these are the people around you. They don't believe in you, you need to believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, you're halfway there, right? Because the knowledge, you can acquire it. But believing in yourself and having balls, you know, to do things, to take a risk, to fucking take a gamble, you know, takes a lot of balls. And if you don't have the balls to gamble on yourself and take a chance one after the other until you win, and putting in your mind that winning is the only viable option, then when you have this mindset and you see failing as a learning opportunity and your mindset is winning is the only option, then you will win. Because winners win, losers lose. 99 of people are losers. I'm sorry, 99 of people are losers. For example, in America, fucking 50% of people are obese. 50. Half of them. It's like a coin flip away, you're obese. None of them fucking got arms like this. None of them know how to fucking fight. None of them speak fucking 3 languages. None of them tried 9 businesses and failed time after time again. Most people are losers. Why? Because they never took the chance. You know, I started boxing recently, you know, in the last 6 months. And I go every day. You know, and I wanted to start it for a while. I was like, what if people judge me because I box poorly? What if people judge me because I'm weak physically? What if people judge me because my cardio is like this? What if I spar with people and I got a fucking punch in the face and I fell on the ground? You know? And I had these thoughts running into my mind. Because like, what if I do it? What if I fail? What if I don't like it? What if I get knocked out? What if some fucking guy blows up my teeth? You know? What happens? Whatever happens if I do this, you know? But guess what? I just did it. You know, I took balls. If people judge me, if I fail, I don't give a shit. This is improving myself. And now I know how to fight. I know how to bust someone up. You know? And you need to do the same. You need to take the chance. I'm going to get a chair because I'm tired of standing up. But you need to take a chance. And I don't know if most of you know the game backgammon. You know, like table, it's called in Romanian. And table is basically you have 15 pieces and you have 2 dice, you know, 1 and 1. And the best hand you can have in table is double 6s. You know, this is the best Best fucking hand you can have. And your odds in like 1 in 36, you know? And for example, if having a double six means winning, then you only need to try 36 times. And most of you say, well, I don't have the grit to try 36 times. But you don't know, maybe you get it in your fourth try, because it's a game of luck, and businesses as well. But for every time you fail, you influence your luck. So your chances of 6 is fuck the chair. No, I'm standing up. Bomboklat. You know? And in business is the same concept. Because every time you fail, your odds go from 1 in 36 to 1 in 35. Then you fail again, and then they go 1 in 30, and so on and so forth. And then every time you do a business, your odds are 1 in 1 of 1. So 100% of winning. There's 100% of winning. Because you try one time, you get 1 in 36, then the second one 35, then 30, bam, 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 you go down, and then you have 100% success rate, or even a 50% success rate. You know, it's like heads or tails. Heads, didn't win. Heads again, didn't win. Tails, I win. Try 3 times, you win. Why? Because you failed. And failing is the only way you learn. And to fail, in order to fail, you need to bet on yourself. You know, you need to have grit. You need to go after things. You cannot live your life for others. You need to do things for yourself. You cannot spend your time in thinking, what will other people think of me? You need to spend your time thinking, what will I think of myself? When I'm 90, what will I think of my life? Will I think that I'm fulfilled? Will I think that I lived the most fulfilling life ever? No, of course not. Because you did nothing. You took the safe options. You never took a risk. You never took a fucking gamble. You know, I have a teacher of mine. You know, I study media with him. And I was telling him I'm not going to university, or I'm not doing stuff like this because I'm betting on myself. You know, I'm running business. I'm thinking in debt. I'm in fucking debt right now. You know, but I'll make it back. I'm not worried about it. I'm not stressed about it. I know I'll make it fucking back. 17, I'm 10K in debt. Business debt. 10K at 17. Can you imagine that? How many 17-year-olds you know are 10K in business debt? Not a lot of them. And you know, I'm still relaxed, still calm, still hustling, because I know I'll make it back. I'm not stressed about not making it. Now, the point I was telling you with the media teacher is I was telling you I'm not going to university, I'm betting on myself. Because I believe in myself, because I have balls to do what it takes, and I don't want to live the kind of corporate life. And I was talking to him, and he was telling me that, you know, I went to university at 30. When I finished high school, I had the moving business with my friends, you know, and I did this till I was 30, then economic downturns in the UK, and it didn't work anymore, you know? So he spent, I don't know, like fucking 10, 11 years of his life doing a business. And then when he was 29, he went to uni because he was like, you know what, fuck it, I can always do it later. You can go to uni when you're 30, when you're 45, even. You can do it whenever you want. University, there's not an age limit. Because if you're 17, 18, and you're hitting the crossroad in your life or what you're about to do, take the fucking risk. Because I was asking him, do you ever regret not going to university before? He said, no. Those 11 years of my life where I was fucking moving a shitty job. He had like some trucks. He was moving houses to people because the economic market was booming. People were buying houses. They were the best times of my life. And then at 30, didn't work out. He didn't want to do it anymore or pursue it anymore. He went to university, and now he has his own business teaching media and makes like 200K a year, which is pretty fucking solid. He has 3 kids, a wife, you know, he's happy. But he wouldn't have his media business that he has today after he went to university if he didn't spend those 11 years doing business, because out of those 11 years, let's be realistic, for at least 2 years, he was what we would call a sorry for my writing. He was a social failure. I cannot pronounce that word. I have a hard time. So for at least 2 years, he was a failure. And now his business is doing well. He's making 200K a year. He works his own schedule. He does conferences. He talks in front of hundreds and hundreds of people. He teaches me things. I pay him to teach me things. So he's doing good in life. And the reason he could have went and had a corporate job, but no, he took another risk, once again, to start his own business. And it's fucking working for him. Delightfully, it's working. You know? And the point here is he bet on himself time after time again, and it won. He's fucking, I don't know, like 55. You know, he's still running the business, still betting on himself. He's not betting on some other guy to give him a job, to hire him, to give him a fucking salary every single month after month. And he just bet on himself, and it won. The guy I was telling you is going to coach me for my e-com business. This guy failed 20 business. Why? He bet himself time after time. And now every business he does, he's starting new businesses, expanding in other countries. He wins every time. Why? Because he took the odds in 1 in 36 to 1-on-1. He doesn't fail any businesses. You know, and it takes a lot of try and a lot of grit to succeed at doing things. And most of you don't have the grit necessary. And it's not because it's a lack of personality or a lack of character. It's because you're too consumed by the judgment that other people will give you if you don't succeed. Like, don't preoccupy yourself with the opinions of others because they have no context on your life whatsoever. You know, maybe some people tell you you're dumb, you know, and then you take it as the fact that you're dumb. And then your whole personality is you are dumb, you know. And if you believe in yourself that you are smart and you are competent, you're going to live your life as a smart and competent person who wins. If people tell you, you're a loser, then you're going to live your life as a loser. If you view yourself as a competent winner, you're going to live your life as a competent winner, you know? And betting on yourself, the whole principle of betting on yourself is not listening to the opinions of other people. It's doing things for yourself, with yourself, to trying to improve yourself. You know, I don't know how many will watch this video and actually do something about your life, because I'm genuinely trying to help people, because the fucking competition in my age range is so weak. You see all these fucking TikTok millionaires, blah, 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 fucking pussies, all of them. They don't know shit. Sure, they got money with crypto. They got one up on me. I'll let that slide one, you know? But you see them on TikTok and they're like an anomaly. They're like 1 in a million. You know, there's like maybe 8,000 kids my age with a fucking McLaren. Not even. You know, the 1% financially in the 18 to 90% the world in first world countries is like 40K. If you make over 40K a year, you're like the top 0.1% of your age category. 0.1%. So out of 1,000 students that are my age, or 1,000 kids that are my age, if I make 40 bands a year, I'm better than 1,000 of them, you know? And if you want to be better than the 1,000 of them, you need to do what the 99% don't do, or the 999 don't do. If the 999 go to party and do drugs, the fucking opposite. If 999% or 999 go drinking, go do drugs, go do this, go do that, don't do nothing productive, just don't do the things that they're doing, and trust me, you will win. And winning takes time. You have to understand nothing's happened. You know, you live in a society where you watch TikTok and you get dopamine instantly. Doing business and failing takes time. It takes years of your life. But in those years, you're having fun, you're learning, you're trying new things, you're sharpening your experience, your skill, your storytelling, how you speak, how you talk, the people you meet, the ideas you have, you develop your mind, you know? And it takes years. It takes years to be successful. I started business like maybe a year ago. Yeah, exactly. A year and a month ago, I started business. Just doing business here. So I was very interested, but I never took the step forward, you know, to actually do a business. I never took the step forward. Why? Because I was afraid of judgment, of failure, but now I don't give a shit. And I have failed 9 businesses. Like, I thought each of them would work. Like, I genuinely believe that they would work. I genuinely, like, I'm here in the fucking office. I genuinely sat at the table for hundreds or thousands of fucking hours doing this business. Thousands of fucking hours. It didn't work out, but guess what? I learned something in those 1,000 hours. And this is very important to learn, because the more you learn, the more you can do, the more you can do, the more you can bet on yourself, the more confident you are, the more successful you are. So I want to end up this video by betting on yourself. Do something today or tomorrow that involves you betting on yourself. Stop giving a shit about the opinions of people, because most of you give a shit about the opinions of your colleagues. You're not gonna know them in 5 years. They're not gonna remember you in 5 years. If you fucking die, they're gonna go to your funeral. You're gonna be forgotten in 2 weeks. You're gonna be forgotten in 2 weeks. So live your life for yourself. Don't live your life for other people, because it's fucking pointless.